Desiree, aka Mama Friendly, and I do all sorts of videos on my channel, from cooking videos to planner videos, vlogs, hauls, homeschool videos with a Disney twist, a little bit of everything. So if any of that sounds like fun to you, I hope that you'll subscribe and join me on my YouTube adventure. Today's video is going to include two recipes, one a little simpler than the other, but they're both pretty simple, both super delicious, and they are both recipes that have to do with seed cycling. Now, I did a series on cycle syncing and seed cycling, try saying that 3 times fast, late in 2022. I'll go ahead and post that up here in case you'd like to check it out later, but basically what I did is that I ran through each of the 4 phases of the menstrual cycle, what happens to your body during each phase, and as such, what sort of nutrition you should be intaking, I guess, to help support your body and these processes during those phases. I also talked about seed cycling, which is something that specifically relates to hormone balancing, particularly if you either have PCOS and or you're trying to conceive. So this video is going to deal specifically with seed cycling, which is a separate practice from cycle syncing, but something that a lot of people use hand in hand, including me. The premise behind seed cycling is that instead of breaking down your menstrual cycle into 4 phases, you're breaking it down in the first half and the second half. And so in the first half, which is pre-ovulation, between menstruating and ovulating, you're going to have 2 different seeds that you eat in order to help balance your hormones. And then the second phase of your cycle, so after you've ovulated and before you've menstruated again, your body needs a different set of things in order to keep your hormones in balance. Now, before I continue, I want to remind everybody I'm not a doctor, I'm not an expert, I'm just somebody that's done a lot of research and I am implementing this information in my own life. So do not take this as medical advice. However, if you're interested, I do advise you to watch this series of videos so that you can get some information and go to your own doctor and maybe come up with a plan together for what works for you. So I've got my notes down here, so if you see me looking down every once in a while, that's what's going on. But in the first half of your cycle, so again, that's menstruating through just before ovulation, the seeds that you're meant to consume are flax seeds and pumpkin seeds. The reason that you'd want to eat flax seeds is because they improve your estrogen levels while binding excess and helping the body eliminate the surplus. So it boosts the estrogen till just where you need it, and before it gets to be too much, it says no sir, no thank you, and it helps you kind of, well, get rid of them. And then for pumpkin seeds, they have an extremely high zinc content, and that helps you to support your progesterone production. So I am sharing, like I said, not 1 but 2 recipes today. One is going to be for some flax meal muffins that have almond meal, bananas, and chocolate. So good. And secondly, I'm going to show you just a really quick and easy way to prepare pumpkin seeds. At first, I had a little bit of an ick reaction to the taste of pumpkin seeds. Now I'm at the point where I'm just eating them raw. But this recipe is an amazing, delicious way to season and roast your pumpkin seeds to make them very, very palatable to anybody in your family. So I'm going to go ahead and show you these recipes, and I hope you guys enjoy. So for recipe 1 of 2 for our phase 1 cycle syncing, I'm going to do the more complicated one first. We're going to be making flax, almond, banana muffins with dark chocolate. This recipe is paleo, so it's naturally gluten and dairy free. And as we know, one of the ingredients you're supposed to consume during phase 1 of seed cycling, or the first half of your menstrual cycle, is flax. So this recipe is going to require 1 3/4 cup of almond flour. I'm using the super fine because I do not want my muffins to be grainy. You need 1/4 cup of flaxseed meal. Again, I'm getting it already ground because if you get whole flax seeds, they are going to basically just pass through your system, to not be crude about it. Like, you're not going to get any actual nutritional value out of whole flax seeds. So you always want to make sure that they're broken up or ground. A teaspoon of baking soda, a 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon, 1/8 of a teaspoon of salt. You also want 2 medium, very ripe bananas, so you can mash them up and they're going to be a sweetener for our muffins. My bananas can stand to be a little more ripe, but it's what I've got, so it's what I'm gonna go with. We need an egg, slightly beaten, 2 tablespoons of melted coconut oil, or you could use avocado oil instead because it's also neutral. So I'm going to go ahead and use that so I don't have to be melting coconut oil. A tablespoon of apple cider vinegar, a teaspoon of vanilla extract, 2 tablespoons of unsweetened almond milk. I've got my Ride or Die here, my Nut Pods Original Almond and Coconut Creamer. And lastly, 2.5 ounces of dark chocolate. I've got these Hue Kitchen snacking gems. This bag is 3.5 ounces. We need 2.5. Luckily for us all, I've already been snacking on these, so I'm just going to go ahead and use whatever's left in the bag. And as you can see, this brand of chocolate is Paleo. There's no dairy, there's no soy, no fake sugars. So this is my go-to for snacking and baking lately. We're going to preheat our oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. I'm going to take a medium bowl and whisk together my almond meal, my flaxseed meal, baking soda, cinnamon, and salt, and I'm going to set it aside. In a large bowl, I'm going to mash up my banana. I'm going to add in my egg. I'm going to add my oil, apple cider vinegar, vanilla, and almond milk and mix it until it is smooth and creamy. I'm going to add my dry ingredients to my wet and mix until it's just combined. Lastly, I'm going to fold in my dark chocolate chunks. If you've got some extra, you can set them aside and sprinkle them on top of the muffins later so that they're extra cute. We're going to fill our muffin cups 3/4 of the way full. You can either grease your metal tin, you can use paper liners. I'm using a silicone mold, so I'm just going to pour it right in. If you had that extra chocolate set aside, now would be the time to sprinkle them on top. And we're going to bake our muffins for 20 to 23 minutes until the toothpick comes out clean, or with just a few little crumbs attached. It's going to make about 10 muffins. Alrighty, so we're gonna start our second recipe. I'm almost embarrassed to call this a recipe, but in case you're new to roasting pumpkin seeds, I think that this is a great way to flavor them so that they're, oh my gosh, they're just so good. I also just like eating them raw, so this is just a way to kind of jazz them up, but these are in fact raw pumpkin seeds. I get them in bulk at Sprouts, and I just keep them in a jar. So this is just a marinara jar that I've cleaned out, and so that is where they are stored. But for the purposes of roasting them, I've got a baking sheet here, and I've just lined it with parchment paper to make cleanup a little easier. And for every 85 grams or 3/4 of a cup of pumpkin seeds that I'm going to roast, I'm going to use a tablespoon of oil. You can use olive oil, or I'm going to use avocado oil today. You guys can't see it back there, it's out of focus. There we go. I'm also going to use a 1/2 teaspoon of salt, a 1/4 teaspoon of garlic powder, a 1/4 teaspoon of paprika, and 1/8 of a teaspoon of black pepper. I'm using the air quotes because I'm probably just going to until it looks right. I'm preheating my oven to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. If you were using fresh pumpkin seeds, like actually from the pumpkin, you'd want to make sure to wash them well in a colander to remove all of the pulp and then let them air dry, or you could dry them with a clean kitchen towel. Now in a small bowl, I'm going to combine my pumpkin seeds, oil, salt, garlic powder, paprika, and black pepper. Once everything's all mixed up, I'm going to evenly spread my seasoned pumpkin seeds on my sheet pan, and I'm going to bake until the seeds are nice and toasty and crunchy. This will take about 12 to 15 minutes. I like to go in and mix them up every 5 minutes or so, just to make sure everything is evenly cooked and nothing has a chance to burn. Once they cool down, they're ready to eat. You can serve them in a little bowl, or you can put them in a different jar and save them for later. It's a super easy and super tasty way to get in your pumpkin seeds for that first phase of seed cycling. All right, friends, that'll do it. I hope you've enjoyed these recipes. They are very simple, but very delicious snacks that are going to make your seed cycling goals extremely easy to attain. If you've ever done seed cycling before or any sort of cycle syncing, I would love to hear about your experiences in the comments. Are you still doing it? How long did you do it for? What was the reasoning behind it? Let's have a dialogue because I love talking to people about any sort of biohacks. And so if you're somebody that's on the same journey, then automatically you're my people. And if you're new to all this, I'd love to know why. You know, what are you trying to gain from this? What sort of information are you hoping to gather? If there's any questions that I could answer for you, again, I'm not an expert, but I'm always looking to learn more myself. So if I know the answer, I'll tell you. And if not, then I'll do the research for the both of us and we'll learn together. I want to thank you so much for being here and watching this video. I hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, I hope you'll please give it a big thumbs up. I'd also love it if you'd subscribe and click that notification bell because I post at least 3 times a week and I wouldn't want you to miss a minute. Thanks so much again for watching. Bye!